the fairy who was allergic to magic in a beautiful forest hidden deep in the heart of a sparkling glen, there lived a young fairy named Willow. She was small, with delicate wings that shimmered like gossamer and hair the color of moonlight. Willow loved the forest and all the magic it held. Flowers bloomed in her presence, streams sparkled brighter when she sang, and animals would follow her wherever she went. But there was one problem. Willow was allergic to magic. It all started when she was just a tiny fairy. Unlike the other fairies who could use magic with a wave of their hands or a twirl of their wings, Willow would sneeze and break into a rash every time she tried to perform a spell. Her fellow fairies found it very peculiar, and poor Willow spent most of her days hiding in the forest, feeling different from all the others. One day, the fairy queen, who ruled the magical forest, called a grand gathering of all the fairies. She announced that it was time for each fairy to perform their special magic for the autumn festival. Every fairy would create a magical display of lights, flowers, or music to celebrate the season. The fairy queen looked around the circle of fairies, smiling with pride, but when her gaze landed on Willow, her smile faltered. Willow, the queen said kindly, "Will you be joining us for the festival?" Willow's wings drooped. She had tried many times to use her magic, but every time something went wrong. I don't know, Queen," she said, her voice soft. I'm allergic to magic. Every time I try, I sneeze or break out in hives. I wouldn't want to ruin the festival." The other fairies giggled softly, but the fairy queen raised a hand for silence. "We all have our gifts. Willow, perhaps you can find a different way to help us, one that doesn't rely on magic." Willow felt a spark of hope. What if I can't make magic work the way the others can? The queen smiled warmly. "The most powerful magic comes from within. Sometimes it's not about the spells we cast, but the kindness we show and the things we do with a different kind of magic." Willow went home that night and thought about what the fairy queen had said. The next morning, she woke up early, determined to find a way to help with the autumn festival leaven without using magic. She started by collecting the fallen leaves from the trees. She gathered them into a big, colorful pile, each one glowing with the reds, oranges, and yellows of autumn. As Willow worked, she began to arrange the leaves into beautiful patterns on the ground. She carefully placed them in swirling designs, making the forest floor look like a living painting. Her heart warmed as she worked. This was her way of celebrating the magic of the forest. The other fairies watched Willow from afar, puzzled. How could she make the forest beautiful without magic? Then, the day before the festival, the fairy queen flew over to see Willow's progress. Her eyes widened in awe. "Willow, this is amazing," she said. The swirling leaf patterns were even more beautiful than any magical display. "You have created a masterpiece, and all without a single spell." Willow blushed, her wings fluttering. "I didn't use any magic, Your Majesty. I just used what the forest gave me." The Fairy Queen smiled. "And that, my dear Willow, is the most powerful magic of all creativity, love, and the ability to make the world a more beautiful place without relying on magic. You've found your own kind of magic." The Autumn Festival. The next day, the fairies gathered for the festival. The air was filled with the sweet scent of autumn, and the forest sparkled with golden light. Willow stood proudly by her display of colorful leaves, watching as the other fairies performed their magical tricks. One fairy made flowers bloom with a wave of her hand, while another conjured sparkling lights that danced in the air. But everyone paused when they saw Willow's creation. The leaves on the ground glowed softly in the sunlight, and the patterns she had arranged looked like a beautiful mosaic, shifting with the wind. The fairies gathered around her, admiring her work. "Willow," one fairy said, "this is more beautiful than anything we could have done with magic." The Fairy Queen flew up to Willow, her wings shining brightly. "You see, Willow," she said, "magic is not just in spells. It's in everything around us, the colors of the sky, the patterns of the leaves, the music of the wind. You've shown us that the most powerful magic comes from the heart." From that day forward, Willow no longer felt different or left out. And while Willow may have been allergic to magic, she discovered something even more powerful. She had the magic of her own heart, and it was enough to make the world shine brighter than she ever imagined. The end. This story celebrates how Willow, the fairy allergic to magic, found her own unique way to contribute to the world's beauty and magic through love, creativity, and kindness.